So I'm back with another one, hotter than the sun's being. What he said. I'm a ever-raving, motivated promoter for gators, debaters on the Lions, then the hottest debate. Platforms behind the scene, unbelievable skills from a talented woman, a team's dream, executing projects those impossible to achieve. I hate to brag, but yeah, that be me. Feeling the fire, pleasing the team, making it happen, no time to lean. Deborah spirit lives in me, delivering triumph, leading the charge. Warrior spirit, the battles are made, played by, plays in the game, play remaining, eliminating drama on the screen. And I'm locked in with a fellow warrior, bringing this fire to the street. Oh, another level of grind, day and night, no stopping the pace, making our mark, taking our place, unstoppable force on the grind. Gators, debaters on the map, leaving a spark. The ones they fear, the ones they know. When stepping on the stage, the crowd starts to glow. Arguments are fire, styles untamed. The timing and duo, and we're here to play. And we're here to play. On a mission to win, on a roll. No obstacles too big, no challenge too cold. The warriors of words, the queen and the king of the game. With every win, one step closer to fame. The bond is unbreakable, spirits unshaken, being molded in a world so cold. Blood gold at the end of every phase. It's not just words, it's a movement's voice. Change makers, leaders of the choice, and the power of knowledge and the strength of the team. Leaders of tomorrow, making our theme, breaking barriers, shattering norms. The future's hope, taking the forms of innovators, thinkers, warriors, true, making a difference, seeing it through. And yeah, I got a fiery lawyer spirit, hey, that's what's up. Yeah, I got bars, and the flow's never rough. Collaborating with a fellow warrior spirit, bringing the fire. We're unstoppable. And our team's taking it higher. Yeah, yeah, we're unstoppable, and our team's taking it higher.
Well, all right. Once again, putting it down for you and yours. This is another episode of Lion's Den. The segment title, The Conversation Continues, talking about what's on your mind. And we're your host. You're the one and only, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, along with Brother Dark Storm. But some of y'all know me better as Baby Hebrew. And as always, we give our honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow. And we always thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher. And we thank you also for welcoming us into your homes. And you know, as always, when you roll with the Lion's Den, you know you're going to get nothing but the best at every turn. Because you know we don't deprive you. We're not going to deprive you. We're going to give you all you need from a spiritual, intellectual, and emotional standpoint. And of course, you know that when you roll with the Lion's Den, you're also rolling with the greatest machine that you've ever had the pleasure of listening to. Now, that's not bragging It's just what it is. Because the Lion's Den is the grand ultimate social media experiment. And we always say experiment because, say, experiment, when you experiment, that means you try something. You put certain formulas and certain calculations together to bring about a greater result. Well, when you put your spiritual, intellectual, and emotional well-being in the hands of the Lion's Den, Lady Karima and myself, along with other powerful voices out here in Lion's Den land, we will make sure that in the Lord's naming, his true name, Yahweh, and Christ, Yahweh Shah, some say Yahshua, you will be taken care of. And what makes the Lion's Den so magnificent is because this is also the home of diversity. See, what makes the Lion's Den so magnificent is because Lady Karima, she offers up a variety pack of different information, different outlooks and opinions, which that way gives you all out there in Lion's Den land a well-rounded overview, underview, and every other kind of view you could think of to make sure that when you come into the Lion's Den, you're going to be well fed. Now, we understand that some of you are not all Bible believers. Whatever. Some of you are Bible believers, you're going to be increased here. Some of you who are not Bible believers, but you're on the fence, you're going to get increased here without a sermon, though. We don't do sermons. We don't do inundated, lectures with 1,000 or more scriptures when all it take about a good 5 or 6 to make a solid point. Also, what makes the conversation continue so powerful in the Lion's Den? The 7 eyes. You know what that formula is. That's intelligence, integrity, inspiration, influence, independence, insight, and information, which are all the factors of the facts that we bring. Frequently accurate, correct truths. Also, when you roll with the lions and the lionesses, you're rolling with the pride, y'all, because we're permanently ready and destroying evil, starting with our own. Because we understand here that it's better to have a diamond with a flaw than be a perfect pebble. Why? Because a diamond, you can chip away the flaw and get perfection. And so it is. Lady Karima and I, we strive, the operative word being strive, to be a moral man and moral woman in this calling. And we don't put on no super Israelite capes. We're not going to over-represent. We're not going to pretend that we're something that we're not. What you get here is the real deal, okay? And you know also that we are part of the anti-coon movement. We don't do that here. And what's a coon, y'all? You know, a complete, obedient, obvious, yes, a boss, nigga. We don't do that here. No bedwenching, no big black buck, no samboing, no buck dancing of any kind will ever be done here on the Lion's Den. Why? Because we can't be bought. And more importantly, we won't be sold. And of course, this is the home of point, counterpoint, a fancy way of saying debate. Sometimes we may not always see eye to eye, but we always keep each other on our toes and always ready. And it's in love because it's each one reach one, teach one. It's just that simple. And also, that we come with the 2 basic biblical formulas that make this machine work also. And that is the book of Isaiah, the 41st chapter, verses 21 through 24, which tells us to be ready, willing, and able to what? Produce our cause and bring forth our strong evidence. And yes, 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, verse 21, we also come in the spirit of being ready, willing, and able to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. And you're also being hit with Virgo energy. Yeah, that's right. We're spiritual, critical, tactical, political, but we always strive never to be hypocritical. Because from city to city and state to state, without no follow-up bleep, bloops, or blunders, with Lady Karima at the helm of the Lion's Den, you're going to experience miracles and wonders. Miracles and wonders. And if you out there in Lion's Den land are allergic to truth, you can't handle reality, you can't handle the facts that we're about to present in the various conversations that we're about to embark upon, well, as always, Lady Karima and myself, we extend to you our deepest sympathies, because we're not going to compromise them for no one. So you can scram, leave, get, be gone, any adjective or verb that describes getting up out of here. You can execute that now, because my Negro and my Negress, let me assure you, you will not be missed. Okay? And last, but certainly not least, one of the house rules we want you to observe, as set forth by our family member and beautiful lioness, I Am Manna. When you enter the lion's den, please wipe your feet, mind your manners, conduct yourself in an orderly manner, and enjoy yourself. Because at any given time, you get out of line, well, the lioness will swoop down and kick you up out of here. And you know the formula. She'll break you down with the quickness, work you out like physical fitness, hit you with so many get up out of here fast combinations, not even a Jehovah will witness. Okay? And I'll just stand back and go, because you were warned. Now, with all those formalities out the way, we are now aligned on runway 12. And I hope you are enjoying all the original songs and music by the Seventh Answer, as she hit us with the higher altitude. And how fitting, considering that she is indeed the FAA, she indeed is the control tower and that makes all these flights and conversations in the Lion's Den clear for takeoff. And she's clearing me now on runway 11 for takeoff. And as we are now gaining higher altitude, the conversation continues. Tonight, we're flying high, baby. With all that's going on in the world, with all the turbulence that's going on all throughout the planet, we're still flying high. Yeah, it's rough, but we built for it. And we're facing everything with all the faith and bravery that we can. Because we're in some dark and tough, perilous times, as the Bible said it would be. Now, what I'm gonna do, right? Or I keep saying what we are gonna do. We. I gotta get that we mastered. What we're gonna do, as we now take you on higher altitude and we're flying high. Tonight, it's not gonna be topic specific. We're just gonna be traveling the world, okay? And what I, conveyed this the seventh answer. And, she gave me the green light. As I've picked out certain topics and certain clips and bits and pieces of individuals who may not have listened to us, but you've heard us talk about a great many things. Famine, you've heard us talking about the great shakedown and gangsterism that is transpiring in America by way of Donald Trump and the Nazi bunch. You heard us talk about the weather, everything being all out of whack, wars, rumors of wars. You've heard it all. But what I've done in conjunction with the seventh answer and her researching as well, because when you guys are sleeping, we're awake, burning that midnight oil, making that sacrifice. So when we come in and make these presentations, everything is, how you say, solid and right on. So I'm gonna as we get ready, as we're flying on higher altitude, we're gonna just pick out different videos, different clips talking about subject matters that we've already addressed. But what we want to do is unpack and give you all out there in Lions Den land, not so much a different view, a different spin, but just let you know the effect when the Most High said His word doesn't go out void. There's always someone listening. There are others who are listening. And I'm going to just say this here. In the experience that I've been in the area of broadcast and hosting shows, I can always recognize our work. And that's all right. It's all love. It's all cool. Like I said, we know a lot of you white folks out there and other people of other nations are on the low. Y'all creeping up in here. You love the Lions Den. Why? Because you're going to get the whole truth and nothing but the biblical truth that you too need. Because here in the Lions Den, there's also another formula that we ask in regards to a very profound question. And that is, aren't you tired of being lied to? Well, if you are, you're in the right place at the right time, because here we're not corporate owned. We don't have any sponsors breathing down our backs, telling us what we can and cannot say. We don't have anyone that we coon to. And we're not owned by any corporate media conglomerate. And therefore, we depend on our God for our daily bread. So like I said, we don't pucker up and be kissing no pink booties or any other kind of color booties just to get raw and technical about it. Okay? So we're gonna be talking about a lot of things. We're gonna selectively pick out videos that we've selected, and we're gonna break them down biblically. We're gonna break them down to an even lower compound. But first and foremost, let's get on this. The Nazi bunch crew, your president, Donald J. Trump and company, and here it is now. They just recently went before the Supreme Court and the legislative board trying to block the executive order for them to come up off the SNAP benefits for November. Now, there's some of you out there who are blessed to be able to get those SNAP benefits. And, hey, the Lord opened a door, give thanks, be happy, be thankful. But still, there's an appeal going on by the DJT and the Nazi bunch to try to stop that action as a whole. Now, this is purely speculative. I'm going to, make sure we honor our seven eyes of integrity. But it's a thought. It's just a thought. But it may be a valid thought. It might not be an original thought. But I was conversing earlier on with the seventh answer, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ask you all out there listening in Lions Den Land. When I run this speculative question, you know, give me a 1 if you agree, and give me a 2 if you don't agree. And this is what I ran by seventh answer in our earlier conversations during the course of this beautiful day. And that's this. With the heat that Donald Trump and company are trying to keep from doling out November's SNAP benefits and EBT benefits, hey yo, I think they done spent that money. I'm just saying. We saw them with the lavish party and all these other projects that they were executing and not playing in our faces. I think they done spent that money. And if they have, oh man, hey yo. But am I on? Do y'all think I'm on to something? Drop a 1 in the comments. If come by. If you're on Facebook, still come through here and drop a 1 and let me know what y'all. Maybe I might be on to something. I don't know. I know. Like I said, this is speculative, but they're putting way too much energy and trying to block the Supreme Court order saying, yo, give people their money. Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I'm just, but with the way they hijack the Medicaid and all the other programs and roll all it up to give Argentina $40 billion. Now it's confirmed $9 billion. The goddamn Ukraine. Here it is now. Who else? Who else got that a beautiful gravy train? Who else? Ukraine, Argentina. Okay, I forget the freaking other country. Oh my God, I hate when I do that. It'll come to me. Well, if you've been watching the news, you see who been getting paid. And you know what? You know what I also find interesting about Argentina? If you know your history and everything else, where did the majority of the Nazi bunch of Adolf Hitler retire to? Yeah, that's right, Argentina. Coincidence? I'm just saying. But I think Trump and company, they done stole that money. They done took that SNAP money, and there is no SNAP money. Earlier on in one of our presentations, the orange horse of the apocalypse cometh. Go back and check out that episode. The seventh answer, and I broke down the fact that, hey, yo, they were already talking about they're going to move some money here, move some money around here, just to pay the military soldiers who weren't getting paid. They're going to move some money around. But, yo, I think, this is, again, speculative. I think that SNAP money, the majority of it is gone. And then the $6 billion that's supposed to be on standby for emergencies, they don't want to come up off that money either. Did they hijack that too? I mean, my goodness. All right, here it is. He's the president of these United States, and he controls the executive branch of the system of governance. But the way this man is now acting and wanting to defy the United States Supreme Court and others saying, yo, pay these people, give that money up. And now he and the Nazi crew and bunch are trying to block an appeal saying, well, we're not going to give it the money. We won't be giving the money because the Democrats, those Democrats, they're still not being cooperative and they want to keep the government closed. Stop the bull. shenanigans, Mr. Trump. The Republicans have control of the House, the Senate. They control everything right about now. So you can easily go ahead on and do what you have to do. The Democrats ain't stopping anything. Stop playing games. Just stop. This is all you and the Republican Nazi bunch, and you in particular, Mr. Trump, you and your vindictive self, all right, punishing the people, those who come against you. So you're doing this indiscriminately. And now, look, some of you out there have been realizing you've been falling for the okey doke. This whole thing about, oh, well, they ought to cut SNAP and EBT because my taxes. Shut up. Shut up. Just be quiet. Because your taxes, anyone who's talking like that, you don't pay enough in taxes to cover anything out here. Your taxes been if you want to get down to it, yours, and mine's taxes have been hijacked more by all these trillionaire and billionaires more than people on SNAP. I mean, after all, 46 million people are on SNAP. That's not a lot of people compared to an estimated, let's say 8 billion people here in the United States of America. 46 million, which is estimated to be by some is reputed to be just 1% of the population, 1.5% of the population. So 46 million out of 8 billion people on SNAP and EBT. So what? So what? And for all you white folks out there, now that you are finding out that you have been the true welfare king and queens, oh, I know you feeling stupid, voting against your own interests because you didn't want black folks to get their fair share. And now you're finding out that what the seven aunts and I brought out historically, who welfare was put together for way back in the 1930s, but it wasn't called welfare back then. It was called the NRA, National Recovery Act, because a great many of you white folks immigrating over here, you were losing your proverbial shirt or you were broke as a joke. And black folks couldn't even qualify for those programs. And then again, a lot of black folks, we were doing good without your system. That's why we got bombed, burned, flooded, maimed, hanged, you name it, when we were having our own economic boom. So welfare was a white program yesterday, and it still is today. See, a lot of you fell for that okey doke by your boy Ronald Wilson Reagan, old 666 himself from back in the day, when he came up with that trope about black women are the welfare queens. And, he had so many racist stories about welfare. Like some of his famous ones. Well, what concerns me is when I hear about an American out at a checkout counter trying to figure out how he or she's going to pay for a couple of pounds of hamburger, and up walks this strapping young buck with a boatload of T-bone steaks and food stamps to pay for him. This is the bull Garby Ogio that used to come from Ronald Wilson's yuckety yuck mouth. And the Republicans pushed that welfare queen crap, and you all believed it. But look at you now. Oh, look at all of you now. Now the reality is hitting you and slapping you all in the face. Now that famine is now at your door, as you realize Those rich oligarchs, all those rich white folks, played you like a banjo or a fiddle. And now had you voting against your own interest because you didn't take time out to go behind the scenes and get the truth about how welfare work, how Medicaid and all these other programs work. You and your racial passions willfully chose to be ignorant. Hold on. Willfully chose to be ignorant to the real deal and structure on who really gets the most in welfare, corporate welfare, big major league tax cuts. But now you're starting to see it. Now you're getting it. But it's too little too late. And since that's what you get, that's exactly what you get. Your racism, your bigoted racism has now cost you. And now here it is. A lot of you white folks, you're out here making videos appealing to black folks. Hey, help us save America. Or could you come save America? No. Nah. Keep the same energy that you've been taught to exude right now. Just keep it. And frankly, there is no saving what has been marked to be wiped out. All right? But bottom line is, hey, listen. As you're now coming into the Lion's Den, again, we are flying high, baby. We on a high altitude, high frequency, and we can't be touched in the whole nines. Now, some of you may say, well, how come you always start so late? Listen, in my neck of the woods, if you live on my coast, okay, 9:30. Listen, y'all, stop. Stop with that. And what do I mean by that? Listen, all of us 20, 30 or more years ago, when we were in our prime, looking good, able to move a whole lot quicker, time was of no problem. When we were out there, about to go out here, vibe, click, politic, boogie, get down, have a party, you know what I'm saying? We were here, we were there, okay? We were everywhere. For those of us who were living that extreme hedonistic and, the extreme hedonistic lifestyle and bohemian lifestyle. Time was of no essence. It didn't matter. And we will be up until the break of dawn. So come on now. How about this? The same energy that we used to have going out, boogieing, and everything else in between, and time was not a problem. Let that be the same energy now you use to be given what you need spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally. Let's use that same energy now for a worthy cause, for, a fireside chat or a patio chat, nice cool drinks or what have you, some good food, and enjoy ourselves for a number of hours. And all you out there on the West Coast now, I know y'all can't be complaining. Ain't nothing but 6 o'clock out there where y'all at. What is you talking about? What you saying? Knock it off. But for all my East Coasters out here, man, come on now. The same energy, yeah, I know I'm hitting some of y'all right now. The same energy that you had, find that, look, man, take a Go ahead, get a cup of coffee, nice cup of coffee, a couple of energy pills or whatever you need to help you along this ride, on this flight, and just chill out, man. Because sometimes, we want to make sure we get everybody. It's cold out here in my neck of the woods, so we know some of y'all home. All right, but still, getting back on it. If you missed the live broadcast, there's always the beauty of re-listening on the rebroadcast. But I'm just saying, I'm putting that in your ear. But getting back to what I was talking about. For all you white folks, for all you racists out there, now you are reaping it. This is the reaping season. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever man reap is what he sow, or whatever man sow is what he reaps. And you all out there, for all my white folk and all the other nations outside of the nation of the children of Israel, y'all have lived a long time in this country, living off our blood, sweat, tears, and everything else. But now that is over with. And all your protests, all your problems with your system of governance and your trillionaire and billionaire leaders, that's your problem. That's your issue. We told you about them. You didn't want to listen. There was some of our people who tried to unify with you. You ain't want to listen. There were some of our people who went out there, fought and campaigned for the rights that you enjoy, and you didn't share the benefits. Well, now you're on your own. Now you're on your own. And now you want to listen, but hey, this is above us. There's nothing that the seventh answer, nor I, nor anybody else in our nation can do for you now. And that's just real talk. Even the ones that might want to do something for you, they're not going to do nothing for you now. America has done too much and has offended the one true God of the universe and our God. And as a matter of fact, before we go any further, as always, Lady Karima and I, Brother Malachi, that's my Hebrew name, Malachi, messenger of the Lord. We want to let you know out there, all you intelligentsia agencies and governances that are listening to this broadcast the world over. Yahweh, the one true God of the nation of Israel, who foundational Black Americans and anyone of so-called Negro and Indian descent, the one true God, Yahweh, on the blood of his son, Yahweh Shah, or Yahshua, or some who call him Christ. He wants us to tell you that he now requires you to let our people go. Let his people go, that we may serve him. And if you harden your heart, you want to be disobedient, you think you're tough, well, okay then, fine. The only thing you better continue to brace yourself for is more continual spiritual butt kicking until the great day when Christ or Yahweh Shah is given the green light to come through here and spread his wings all over this world and render the judgment of the one true God on your heads. And that's not a threat, it's an absolute guarantee and biblical promise. Okay? As it is written in Revelations, the 13th chapter, 9th verse, he that leadeth into captivity shall, not might, not maybe, shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword shall, not might, not maybe, shall be killed with the sword. And now we're seeing the many swords of the Lord being implemented and used throughout the world. Famine, disease, plagues, the elements, earth, wind, fire, tumults and wars amongst the people. And now finally, America is being exposed for the two-timing creep that she is. Now she is being exposed for the crook and vampire that she has been. And that's why every nation out here is 100 miles and gunning for you now. Here you have your president. Like I said, I'm speculating all these monies that they don't want to pay for all these programs. They've been hijacking to do what? Get ready to take us into these wars that we don't need and that we are not going to win. All right? And I say we because I'm still here. I'm still here. And my money is still being taxed to be used by these pirates to finance their agendas until the Lord gives us the green light and give us the power that we need to, even the playing field. The seventh answer now, we feeling the effects like everybody else. But still, we're flying, what? On a high altitude. The Lord said He's going to protect those who serve Him and do the best they can to do what's right. As practicing Israelites, okay? I know some of you still believe that salvation is for all, but you're in full rude awakening on that too. But that's another subject matter that someone else will cover, or we've already talked about. But still, in the meantime, in the between time, the God of Israel, the God, the one true God of this universe, His will is being felt all over the earth and the heavens, for that matter. But let's stay on earth. See, Trump is talking tough about he gonna roll on Venezuela. He gonna roll on Nigeria, swift, fast, and vicious. But meanwhile, he falling asleep during meetings on national television. All right? It's clearly obvious that he now is falling in all that evil in him. Now he falling victim to dementia and everything else. He was snapping on Joe Biden earlier. Now he getting caught up in it. Now he's starting to slip drastically. All those cover-ups and all the evil with these Epstein files, all these freaks and pedophiles taking all the money, hijacking all the money from all the much needed programs in this country to funnel and finance these wars. And they always with this sanctimonious crap about they want to free the people of other nations. Here it is. That's why all the other nations are saying, man, screw you, America. Look how you treat the black folk, people you have in your country. Look how you treat your own citizenry. Get out of here with all that sanctimonious garbage. And this is why we're seeing now revelations after revelation after revelation is coming to pass. And as far as I'm concerned, now for those of you still coming in and just join the broadcast, look, I'm going to ask again, throughout this course of this broadcast, I want y'all to drop a 1 if you agree or 2 if you think I'm reaching. But again, and by that I mean, for those of you who may just be coming in, look, at the top of this discussion, as we began it, I was telling the seventh answer earlier on in our previous conversation. I believe that when it comes to these SNAP benefits and the monies, I think that Donald Trump and company have hijacked that money, and that's why they don't want to. That's why they're going through hell and high water, trying to to appeal to the Supreme Court to put the whole thing on ice. These pirates have taken that money. That's my opinion. This is purely speculative. But the fact they don't want to come up off the alleged emergency $6 billion fund is clearly a red flag. That I think these imbeciles have hijacked. I believe they hijacked the monies, and there is no money for SNAP. They probably done hijacked the $6 billion too. Just like they hijacked Medicaid and all the other programs here, school lunch for children, they hijack money for the special needs children. Like, God, what kind of a soul must you have when you want to cut meals for children, man? And then our special needs children cutting their program. So where's all that money going? Yeah. Besides, like I said, Argentina, all these prospective wars, most notably with oil-rich Venezuela and oil-rich Nigeria. Do the math, y'all. Like that old adage goes, if you want to know what's going on in this country in particular, follow the money. Not to mention all the huge, beautiful tax breaks that Mr. Trump and the Nazi bunch have extended to all the big money makers and shakers in this society, who obviously now are wrecking this economy. See, there's so many different things happening at simultaneously. It's hard to keep up. But let's pay attention though. All right? Here you have regular soldiers in some areas not getting paid still. FAA traffic control, airline traffic controllers still not getting paid. A lot of federal furlough workers everybody working for free practically, while all the senators and congressmen and congresswomen, they still getting paid, while others are getting nothing. Just a free lunch. Now, let me get this straight. You have people out here working for nothing, and all you do is pay them in food. Now, where have I heard that? Oh, yeah. The chattel slavery that black folk were subjected to for almost 200 and a half years or more in this country. That's right. I thought that system sounded familiar. This is what we have going on in America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. So now what we're going to do, we're going to, like I said, the seventh answer, now we do our research and we do our picking out of different content creators who, some I believe are avid listeners of the Lions Den, other black media outlets, but still, we want to let you know, not that we need validation, but it's still good to let you out there know that we're not pulling this stuff out of our behinds. And now there are other people seeing it once we talk about it. I'm just saying. I don't mind giving credit and exhorting us, because what we do is tremendous, and there are a lot of people feeling the effects of the biblical high that we bring. So with that being said, fair use, y'all, fair use. This is the conversation continues talking about what's on your mind. Seventh answer, take it away.
Oh, hey, did you guys hear that we're bringing back the era where we involuntarily commit the people that we don't like or don't want to deal with? The Trump administration is planning a prison camp for the homeless people in Utah where they won't be able to leave and they will be forced to take treatment. And obviously, many state officials are calling this what it is, a prison, a warehouse for human beings. They are going to confine 1,300 people to 16 acres of land where they will literally not be able to leave. This is a plan that is set to be in place by 2027. It's going to look like this. So, a prison, literally a prison. Because according to Trump and his cronies, it's homeless people's fault that they're homeless. It's not that we have a horrible housing crisis or a crazy wage problem where people are not able to make living wages unless they have really excessive amounts of education and resources to begin with. It's not that we have a totally unaffordable and inaccessible healthcare problem. No, it's the homeless people's fault and problem. And according to Trump, they are turning our cities into unsanitary nightmares, and he plans to use every tool, lever, and authority to get the homeless people off our street. And then he said that they are going to be opening up parcels of inexpensive land where, quote unquote, dangerously deranged people can be relocated and their problems identified. There are a lot of women and children that are homeless. There are a lot of veterans that are homeless. And I just want to say this is absolutely a threat. In my opinion, the actions that this administration has taken in the last 9 months is honestly, it's putting the government in a dangerous situation because they are setting themselves up to be very adversarial to the citizens of the United States. I don't know if you guys have met us, but I don't think this is going to go the way they think it is.
Now, brothers and sisters, do you recall on one of our broadcasts titled, "Hey Trump, I thought you said America first"? Do you recall how the seventh answer we went into and went in depth on the prison system, how the prison system works in this country, why you have had in the last 25 years or better a number of prisons being built all throughout this country, most predominantly in Republican states? Do you remember how we broke down how the school to prison pipeline works, how Ronald Reagan, way back in the 1980s, with a company called RENCOR, figured out how to criminalize and make basically concentration camps? Do you remember how we went into that in depth? And now listen to what these people talking about now. Look what's going on in Utah now. You see, we're not conspiracy theorists like some people who come in and want to troll us. No, we just, by the Lord's grace, see things afar off before they happen, and we break it down. And here it is now. They want to build. Here it is in Utah. First stop, an all-white town now, predominantly white. Now them poor whites is finding out they're MAGA. They're MAGA. The same Utah that gunned down, where Charlie Kirk was gunned down, mind you. Now the first rollout of The concentration camps is in full effect. And look who they're targeting. Do you remember how in some of the previous episodes, the seventh answer took us on the Odyssey regarding what? Mind control and the attacking of people who are vulnerable, who could be made to be weapons? Well, what better way? Round up people who are mentally ill, who can be used and probed to come back out in society being Trump, to be soldiers, mindless drones, to come out here and not only destroy themselves, but anyone who's resisting what these Nazi creeps are trying to implement. Let's keep the energy going. Fair use, Shaw. Fair use.
Homelessness. The exact location of the camp, which is expected to accommodate 30 to 50 people per night, is still undecided, but Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall has mentioned that there are a few potential sites in mind. She expects to announce the location by the end of September. The goal is to address the issue of illegal campsites, but Mendenhall's top advisor on homelessness, Andrew Johnston, has acknowledged that this camp is part of a pilot project and won't have sufficient capacity to address the entire unsheltered population in the city. According to Johnston, this project, which is different from the village of tiny homes coming to Salt Lake City's west side, would likely feature shed-type structures instead of tents in open space. Mendenhall said the proposed camp is in line with her previous statements on regulated camping because the state is leading the charge, not the city, and Salt Lake City intends to team up with the state to pick an operator. And former SLC Mayor Rocky Anderson believes the proposed camp falls short of what's needed and is advocating for a larger site, such as the old Wing Point Golf Course.
Now, do you remember on Hey Trump, I thought you said America First Part 2? Do you remember how we broke down the seventh answer, and I broke down how America benefits from homelessness, how homelessness, along with the prison system, is a huge money-making machine for all these Jewish landowners and building owners and property owners, how the government kicks back hundreds of millions of dollars in the these homeless shelters that are not helping you, mind you. Okay, do you remember we broke that down? You see what's happening now? You see how it's manifesting more and more, but now they're going into full mode concentration camps. What's next? They're going to build ovens on those prospective concentration camps, because it's not just in Utah, it's also getting ready to launch in Texas. Let's keep the energy going, though. Fair use, y'all. Fair use. Let's go to work.
Utah has a plan to deal with homelessness, lining up behind President Trump's belief that people should not be allowed to sleep on the streets. State officials say they're preparing to pull more than 1,000 homeless people out of Salt Lake City and into a sprawling campus on the outskirts of town. Supporters call it a place where people can get the services they need. Critics call it a detention camp. Joining us now, New York Times reporter Ellen Berry, who filed that piece from Salt Lake City. So what exactly is this campus, this camp?
So for now, this is still in its planning stages. It hasn't been built, but it is definitely an effort to kind of operationalize the president's executive order from the summer, which said that overwhelmingly homeless people are suffering from mental illness or addiction, and overwhelmingly they should be put into long-term institutional care. That is a reversal of our longstanding approach to homelessness, which has prioritized housing. So this plan is a very large facility that would be devoted in large part to treatment of psychiatric and substance abuse disorders.
So it's kind of, you could argue, bringing back mental health institutions, which had fallen out of favor. There are arguments on both sides of this. as you well know, as you've reported, there are people who say it is not a good idea to let people suffer on the streets, that some people really do need help and they're not capable of getting themselves that help. And there are others that say if you force them into an institution or camp or campus, whatever you want to call it, and you don't allow them to leave, you violate their civil rights, you violate their free will. Do we have a sense of what this campus, if it's actually going to be staffed, if it's actually going to have the resources they need, and how it's going to be funded?
There are lots of questions, and those are some of the most important ones. The proposal, as I understood it, is actually a hybrid with about 1/3 of the beds, a kind of low barrier shelter. So that would be presumably voluntary. And the other 2/3, 800 beds, would be involuntary, either through civil commitment procedures or a diversion program through the courts. So you're sort of looking at a large facility that is in part involuntary and in part voluntary.
Do we know who's paying for this?
Well, it would have to be the Utah legislature, and that is a big question mark, whether there is going to be willingness to fund it. And I think the fear is that if this ball gets rolling and the services are not funded, then it becomes much more of a warehousing type facility and less of a treatment facility. So this is what is not yet clear. It's expensive to create psychiatric beds, and across the country we have a shortage of psychiatric beds for that reason. So expanding psychiatric treatment in this way would be extraordinarily expensive.
Yeah. Ellen Berry. Ellen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Joining us
Translation.
now, Utah State Senator. She was
Okay. Sorry. Let it play. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Say something.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just break this down. You remember how the seventh answer took us into how since the 1930s and 40s, they've been doing mind control experiments. Now, here it is, right? At the brink of this country, on the precipice of an economic collapse and all kinds of other, calamities. All of a sudden now, they want to build an encampment for homeless people who have psychiatric issues. Listen, not everybody out there homeless in these streets has psychiatric issues. But I'm pointing out, look what they're trying to make it sound like. They're going to get the services and the goods that they need at these. But wait a minute, they could get that now. But let's not forget that in the last 20 years, all the psychiatric centers that were functioning and helping people was shut down by this government. So which one is it? Notice when the reporter asked her, well, who's paying for all this? Notice how she kind of, she almost had a moment. See, I'm gonna help. We here on what's in your mind, talking as a conversation continues. We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you know where that money coming from. All these cut programs. See, all these cut programs. That's where the money's coming from. The money being used to take away the money that was taken away from Medicaid, Medicare, the money from SNAP, and all the other life extension and life giving programs for 46 million people are now being rolled up to do what? Be utilized for all kinds of nefarious, low down, evil practices on the most vulnerable, indeed, the poor and those who are mentally ill. And now, what better way than to corral all these people who are ill, mentally ill, and open to suggestion, but put them on these barracks, put them in these institutions and develop weapons. As the rebellion kicks off. Train them, implement them. And before you go, oh, that's not possible. Then you go with conspiracy theories. Like I said, go back and check out the previous episodes of The Lion's Den. The conversation continues, and check out all the episodes where the seventh answer took us again, detailed bit by bit, piece by piece, on a disturbing odyssey of how this country deliberately experiments on those who have some severe mental issues, demonic possession, and psychotic episodes. See the big picture. And if they can't be developed into weapons, they can be eliminated. Who's gonna miss them? Man, these people we're dealing with some maniacs. In the perilous times, the Lord said we were gonna see are now in effect. Men shall be lovers of themselves. There'll be no more natural affection. There'll be truce breakers. All the truces, we hold this truth. We hold America indivisible, one land under God and plea. All that's being broken. All that's going out the window. Just like the Bible said it would. But that's where the money's coming from. She knows it's coming from all the programs that are being slashed. They're hijacking all that money to implement their evil plan. They're going to subdue the people out here. Don't forget, they've been vocal about the fact that they want to take the Earth's populace from 8 billion and reduce it to 500 million. Have you been listening? Let's keep the energy going. Run the video. Seventh answer, please.
Featured in that piece, Jen Plum, a Democrat who represents Salt Lake City. She's also an ER physician. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
What are your concerns?
You know, this is a space that I have been passionate about and touched by for decades, starting with my own brother facing heroin dependence and addiction and ultimately losing him to that. And then coming into the space as a clinician and an advocate, and now as an elected person, I think that I share the hopes that many of those thinking in this space are, and then that is what we can get people better lives, and that we can do things with policy that will get people into spaces where they aren't living in such desperation. But seeing this proposal and seeing it come from a homeless services board that doesn't have a single medical person on it to represent what it would take, I'm worried that these good intentions have the potential to lead to wasted time, wasted money, and violations of people's civil liberties. So for me, that's kind of the, in a nutshell, concerns that I have.
That is a good point. And again, I think it's important to remember that there are people that do really need help and are struggling, and there are family members who want their loved ones to get the help that they need. And sometimes, in some cases, voluntary is not necessarily an option. That being said, you are a part of the legislature and you've expressed your concerns. Is there a way to amend any legislation that might come up to make it so that it's mandatory to have a certain number of healthcare professionals, of addiction professionals, psychiatric professionals on staff and there every year in order to make sure that these places don't become detention centers?
I think that's really a crucial point. And how much of that happens in policy and code versus how much of that happens in planning, that all remains to be seen. You know, we've almost hit this inflection point where folks are saying, oh, housing first didn't work. Now we need this treatment first model. And for me, I don't see it that there's opposing camps. I see it that there's the same needs for people. And for me, housing first was supposed to mean get a roof over people's head first, and then get them the treatment they need, the supports they need, the case management they need, the education they need. Housing first, for me, that's what that meant, and then build upon. But our systems didn't necessarily fund those resources, right? So we call it a failure when really it wasn't the structure or the system so much as the resources there.
Yeah.
We're not that far apart on what people need. Where our chasm is the expectation of whether or not we can force people into it or not. I personally know from a fact, from a family member and from a clinician, you cannot force people into wellness. You have to provide an environment that supports them, and they have to want it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's also, I mean, when the institutions were dismantled, there was an idea that they weren't safe spaces, they weren't helpful, and that it would be better for people to be in the community and be treated in the community so they could be closer to family and they could recover and become a functioning part of society. It was that second step that never got followed through on, which has led us to where we are today. Do you have a partner in the legislature right now that is willing to try to put this down on paper to make sure that if this facility does go online, that it can actually be a model of success rather than just another, failed attempt to solve a complicated problem?
I think that there are a number of partners that I can look to, and that I hope we have the kind of collaborative relationships where we can go head on at this as a problem, right? Not as a political problem, but as an actual human problem and as an actual policy response problem. I think we've got to have some honesty about what this is going to cost to build it. I personally don't believe a structure of 14 buildings can be built for $75 million. I know that staffing that facility will take more than $34 million a year. So I think we need to start with some kind of transparency about what it's really going to cost if we're going to try to do something like this. But personally, my hope is that we can get minds together with subject matter expertise and understanding. Good intentions that are ill-informed don't help people. They just waste money and they waste time. So my hope is I can find those partners, that our system can come together, not to battle, but to support one another. And let's actually do what's right by people, not just make a splash.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. State Senator Jen Plum, really good to have you. Thank you so much for coming on. I think it's an important story.
If you're paying attention to body language, you can see that Dr. Plum and the reporter, you can see how uneasy they are. You can tell they know that what they're hearing is pure bull crapola. Because number one with a bullet. With $40 billion, that $40 billion that was given to Argentina, right? With $40 billion, we could turn this whole country around. With $40 billion, you can end homelessness. You can make fair wage paying jobs and everything. No. But what these power megalomaniacal skunks want to do, and all we urge you to do is just go back and check out just 3 to 4 of our previous shows. And I'm gonna keep hammering home the episode where the seventh answer took us deep into the rabbit hole, a very unpleasant rabbit hole of mind control, mind altering drugs, and why they have these facilities in play. After all, I urge you, go back and check out much of Adolf Hitler's army, who they were composed of. Most of those Nazi boys, who themselves were of Jewish stock, and they learned how to become straight up killers. Where'd they come from? Where were they spawned? Huh? Think about it. Let's not forget that Adolf Hitler was on record telling Olympian Jesse Owens that if he had just 10 men like him, he could find a way to take over the whole world. I want you to give that careful consideration, because that wasn't a compliment that Hitler gave Jesse Owens, but he was noting the mental prowess that Mr. Owens exemplified, coupled with his athletic prowess. Imagine taking that kind of a man, not having to use any kind of performance enhancing drugs. You harness that into a mindless zombie that just takes orders and just moves. When you say move, and you got yourself the perfect killing machine. You hear that's why she's saying $75 million is not going to do the job. No, she knows that all that money could be used to end 40 billion to bail out Argentina, but here it is, they can't use 40 billion to bail this country out. Make it make sense. It's an overused term, but make it make sense, and you can. Let's keep the energy going, or as we continue, we want to welcome you into the conversation. Okay, sorry about that, folks. That was my fault. But like I was saying before I kicked myself out. Yeah, $40 billion can be found to bail out a whole other country, but 40 billion can't be found to bail out America. But now they have all this money. They're finding to what? Develop a mental encampments. Utah, they're also developing one in Texas. Yeah, see, that's also, if not soldiers, they can also be used for free labor, forced labor. Think about that for a second. Because, you have a whole host of white farmers who are mad that black folks don't want to come back and work on their farms. So, hey, this cutting of SNAP, hey, listen, you can get your benefits, but you got to work for them. Make it these scum. You know exactly what they're doing, people. It's deliberate. So, like I said, a nation divided is destined to fall. All these voices I'm showing you right now, like I said, all you gotta do is go back and check out our episodes of The Conversation Continues. But like the late Biz Markie would say, damn, it feel good to see people up on it. Because I can remember when they wasn't, but now guess what? They caught from us, the vapors. Oh, I love it. I love it. So fair use, y'all. Fair use. Take a listen at this.
Trump just took to Truth Social and wrote, SNAP benefits, which increased by billions and billions of dollars, manyfold during crooked Joe Biden's disastrous term in office, due to the fact that they were haphazardly handed to anyone for the asking, as opposed to just those in need, which is the purpose of SNAP, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up government, which they can easily do and not before. Which is to say, Donald Trump is officially weaponizing food assistance for 42 million Americans, including 16 million children, until Democrats cave on healthcare. He is holding hungry people hostage to force Democrats to reopen the government without extending ACA subsidies. He's pitting the sick against the hungry. But hey, populism or something. I should note, too, that Trump's tweet comes just hours after Mike Johnson said this.
People everywhere can see clearly who's fighting and voting here every day and delivering for them. And I'll say this clearly to every hardworking American in any place who's missed a paycheck, anyone who has being made to suffer because the services, the health services you rely upon, or the food and nutrition supplement for your family, anyone who is hurting, you have a home in the Republican Party. You have people here who are elected by their constituents to come and do their job, and they do it. They're voting to support you, to make these programs available, to ensure that the people in need have them. And the Democrats, by stark contrast, are doing the exact opposite.
You have a home in the Republican Party where our leader is withholding your food assistance as political leverage to be able to take away your health care. How is that for messaging on election day? And what's craziest is that Trump is truly taking 100% of the responsibility here, because just days ago, 2 separate federal judges ordered his administration to release the contingency funds that pay for SNAP. According to the New York Times, in one of the cases, Judge John McConnell of the U.S. District Court for the District of Rhode Island ordered on Friday that the Trump administration must distribute the contingency money timely or as soon as possible for the November 1st payments to be made. His order came shortly after another federal judge in Massachusetts handed an early victory to about 24 states, which similarly had sued to force the release of food stamp funding. In that case, Judge Indira Telwani of the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts found that the decision to halt SNAP benefits was unlawful. She required the administration to explain by Monday how it would fund aid in November. Quote, Congress has put money in an emergency fund. It's hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency when there's no money and a lot of people are needing their SNAP benefits. In fact, the Trump administration just told a federal judge yesterday, Monday, that it would use contingency funds to pay 50% of normal SNAP benefits for November. So when Trump posts today that benefits, quote, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up the government, he is contradicting his own administration's court filing from literally 24 hours earlier. And so now you can see the truth about SNAP and how Republicans are weaponizing hunger. They were calling the lawsuit to release SNAP funds frivolous because they didn't want it to succeed. They wanted people to go hungry because it was a bargaining chip for them. They tried to undermine a case that ultimately succeeded in ensuring that 42 million Americans got food. And this is the What Would Jesus Do party? We've got pious Mike Johnson heading the charge here. In fact, I asked Governor Gavin Newsom about that exact point. Here's what he had to say.
We were really proud in California to be one of the leads on that lawsuit, and very proud of this judge to state the obvious, who looked at the actual language that said the USDA shall appropriate contingency funds, and that includes, by the way, considerations for exactly what occurred, a government shutdown. That literally on September 30th, the USDA put out a press release saying these funds are available for precisely that use in case there is a government shutdown, only to see that disappear on their website. And now they're trying to erase any consciousness or memory or any sense of decency on behalf of the American people. Look, you'd expect that of Donald Trump. Let's push that aside. But you started that question
with Mike Johnson. Right, the most pious man in Washington, D.C.
Like that word, pious. It's a good way to describe him. Who's competing for bullshit, bloviation, and lies with Donald Trump. It's extraordinary what comes out of his mouth. Increasingly, it is beyond the pale. This is the indecency of a man of faith, of someone that literally, he read the same Bible I did. You look at Isaiah, you look at Luke, you look at Matthew, you look at Proverbs, Old Testament, New Testament. One of the central themes in the Bible, essential themes. It's not a suggestion, it's about the alignment to the Almighty, to God. It's a question of hunger and food. No decency, sir. Disproportionate number of people that will be impacted in his home district, let alone his home state. And so look, we can state the obvious, the state of mind of Donald Trump, the derangement that he's going to use hunger, starvation, to put families, children, during the holidays, the absurdity that as he's celebrating, as you suggest, no longer it's likely to be $350 million monstrosity of 90,000 square foot ballroom where he's demanding $230 million from the American people for some tithing because of his feeling aggrieved about legal affairs in the past, where he's sitting there at Mar-a-Lago around the roaring 20s as we are paying the highest taxes since the 1930s in terms of these tariff taxes. And we just paid more, as I said, for Halloween candy, and we're paying record prices for toys in a matter of weeks for Christmas.
I like that you can take the course at your own pace, and it had all the tools needed, like templates that you can print out to follow.
So while Mike Johnson and the GOP hide behind Jesus, maybe it's worth asking what Jesus would do in this situation. If your answer is that he would support Republicans in withholding food as a bargaining chip to be able to take away health care, maybe it's time to reread the Bible. But here's what really gets me about Trump's post. He claims that SNAP benefits were, quote, haphazardly handed to anyone for the asking under Biden, as opposed to just those in need. This is a complete and utter farce. SNAP has strict eligibility requirements. Households generally have to have gross incomes at or below 130% of the federal poverty line. That's $2,495 a month for a family of 3. Does Trump think that people are getting rich off of food stamps? According to USDA data from May of 2025, SNAP provides households with just over $350 a month on average. That's $187 per person for a household of 2. For most people watching this, do you think you can survive on $187 per person in a month? I couldn't. We're talking about people who are struggling to put food on the table, while Trump is out here pretending like Biden was just handing out benefits to millionaires at country clubs. The reality is that Donald Trump is trying to rewrite history to make it sound like Democrats were irresponsible with SNAP funding, when in reality, SNAP enrollment increased during the pandemic because, surprise, millions of Americans lost their jobs and needed food assistance to survive. That's not haphazard. That is the program working exactly as it's intended. And now that Republicans have shut down the government, they're trying to use the same program as leverage to gut healthcare. Truly depraved behavior. So I hope that everybody watching can see the game that Republicans are playing. I hope you can all see the ease with which these people will pit hungry Americans against sick Americans in further of their political agenda. And I hope that no matter what your political affiliation is, that you recognize who is trying to help you and who's exploiting your pain to consolidate more power for themselves. Because when Trump says that SNAP benefits will only be given to Democrats to open up the government, what he's really saying is, I am willing to let 42 million Americans starve unless I get my way. And that tells you everything you need to know about who Donald Trump really is.
Yeah.
Before you go...
Now, brothers and sisters, do you remember just on our last broadcast, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, how the seventh answer and I broke down the fact that Donald Trump and company represent the red horse and the pale horse, disease, famine, death, destruction, rulership by sword. Remember how we broke down all the horsemen, and how their vows are being felt all throughout the earth? You see how this works? You know, now my boy here, he kind of trying to gloss over some of the dirty work that Joe Biden and company, with all those immigrants coming over here getting all those benefits and everything else. I saw that with my own eyes. But still in all, we're not talking about them now. Even I can say, no, this is not no Democratic issue. This is all Republicans. Deliberately being done too. Let's not forget what the seventh answer gave us in regards to the Epstein files. Why they're so pressed. Hard pressed to keep the government shut down. What they're trying to hide in that area too. So for all you out there, if you missed those broadcasts, go back, check them out. But what we're doing here tonight is showing you all the voices talking. And before you heard it from them, you heard it from us first. And that's just what it is. But like I said, it's good to see people up on it. And we continue on. Listen and listen close. As you can see, we weren't just pulling things out our butts just to waste our time. Although you'll have some trolls who will come through talking about Donald Trump is the greatest president of all time. Anyway, let's keep the energy going, seventh answer, as the conversation continues.
In the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, and it's still going. Many experts believe this is only going to get worse before it gets better. But the good news is they do see a silver lining at the end of this tunnel. The problem is There's a lot of issues that we're going to face as a result. I want to show you something. It says this is the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. It says we are now at 36 days. It surpassed the previous record back in 2018 and 2019. The problem? Roughly a dozen Senate Democrats have privately signaled they're willing to support a stopgap funding deal in exchange for a future vote on health care, according to sources. However, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says no, we are not going to go that route. They want to negotiate before we open up the federal government. Well, it's turning into a massive crisis. Look at this problem. It says U.S. private payrolls rebound in October, but some industries continue to shed jobs. Guess what? The reason why private payrolls are rebounding is because people are being hired for the Christmas and holiday season. That's the reason why we are seeing more hires right now. It's not because the economy is getting better. It's because people are, really businesses, are planning for a massive Q4. The problem? The money might not be there. But look at this. Here's where things are getting really interesting. Talking about money, look what the Trump administration just did. It says the Trump administration quietly funds some nutrition aid for low-income moms and babies. It says officials moved $450 million in emergency funds to the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children on Friday, also known as WIC. But at the same time, just the other day, the Trump administration said they are questioning the legality of moving these contingency funds from one place in the USDA over to SNAP benefits to pay roughly 50% of 42 million Americans' benefits for the month of November. Even still, some states say they may not see the money until possibly the next couple of weeks, or it could be another month. Think about that for a second. Again, major problems. And you want to talk about some big issues? Well, that's just the tipping point. Look at this. It says air traffic controllers warn of tipping point as U.S. government shutdown drags on. I was talking to a friend of mine who his good friend, best friend, something, is an air traffic controller. And he is stressed beyond belief. He is so stressed out because he's not getting a paycheck, yet he's being called into work and almost being forced to come into work because there's no other options. Okay? Look right here. Look at this. It says, the Federal Aviation Administration was forced to delay flights across the U.S. because of staffing shortages at dozens of air traffic control facilities, making for one of the most difficult days to fly since government shutdown began 5 weeks ago. It says right here, what you're seeing is a lot of people who are truly having to call in sick to go earn money elsewhere. This is the issue. They're not sick. They're okay. But the problem is they have no money coming in. They are being asked to come into work and that they will potentially be paid back pay. The problem here, though, and this is a huge issue, is that they need money to live, to pay for their bills, to pay for food. Banks are calling. This is what we're seeing. But again, this is just the start of it. I want to keep reading this to you. It says right here, I think you're also seeing people who are just calling in sick because they're fed up. And they're like, well, I'm going to spend the holiday weekend with my Yeah, air traffic controllers. Again, the amount of air traffic controllers that commit infidelity and other things, like they're barely home. They don't see their family. It's a huge problem. But look at this. Okay, I want to play this clip for you. Listen to this.
Department of Transportation reporting 46% of air traffic delays on Monday were due to staffing issues. And if the shutdown continues into next week, The Secretary of Transportation warns
You will see mass chaos. You will see mass flight delays. You'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace.
We would expect to see something similar if airspace is shut down.
Trevor Anderson is the director of airport operations at the Salt Lake Airport. He worries how the impact across the country can eventually end up here.
There's kind of the ripple effect that can start to occur.
The other concern, we're coming into the holidays and ski season.
Definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on.
Travelers we spoke with also worried about air travel.
Yeah, it's going to impact their everyday lives.
It's going to start getting pretty dicey here.
Yeah, it's going to get very dicey. You want to know why? Because if they have to shut down certain airspace because we do not have enough air traffic controllers, guess what that does? That then reroutes those flights. It cancels them, for one, to those locations. But then what happens is they have to be rerouted to another location. Let me just paint this picture for you. Here in the Seattle area, we have the SeaTac International Airport. Very big airport, one of the largest parking garages, I think, in the entire country or maybe world, whatever. Anyway, what we know is if we had to cancel, and I'm not saying SeaTac is going to be one of those airspaces that gets shut down, but if we had to reroute all of our flights that came into SeaTac, it would likely have to go into Portland or up into Canada. That could be a huge issue. You know why? Well, if we shut down our airspace, and everyone else has to be rerouted, guess what? Those airports are now overloaded. There's too many people flying into those airports for the amount of workers that they have. Then their airspace may have to be shut down as well. Look at this. It says Duffy also reaffirmed if the airspace wasn't safe, the DOT would shut it down. He said some controllers may work two positions versus one because of the callouts, which is allowed and safe, but does pose a greater risk. Oh, wonderful. It says, we delay flights, we cancel or tell airlines to cancel flights if we don't have enough controllers to effectively and safely manage our skies, according to Duffy. It says, with this shutdown, it would be dishonest to say that more risk is not injected into the system. There's more risk in the system. Okay, this is a huge problem, but listen to this. While most aviation experts agree it is safe to fly during the shutdown, the union representing air traffic controllers, which has pushed hard for the government to reopen, says each day it stays closed, the less safe the system gets. Nice. It says every single day that this goes on, tomorrow is now less safe than today. It says we're supposed to go to work and be 100% of the time. I'm going to work right now and I'm thinking about, how do I pay my rent? People are not 100%, which again, it poses an additional risk. I want to show you this though. Right now, everyone is looking at air traffic controllers, TSA agents are looking at federal employees that may or may not get paid. We've been hearing for the last several weeks, furloughed employees may not see a penny because they have been furloughed. They were sent home, but yet there's a law that states all these people will get paid. The problem and the big concern is, where is that money coming from? The Trump administration does not want to send out money to people that have not been working for their income. Well, look at this. This has nothing to do with the federal government, but this is showing us where things are headed, because it's not just the federal government that is feeling the pain. Look at this. It says McDonald's sales rise, but the CEO expects low-income diners to spend less into next year.
Brothers and sisters, are y'all listening to what he's saying? Let's read between the lines. And you heard us talk about this issue. These demons are playing Russian roulette with people's lives. Remember how we broke down the structure, the FAA? You talking about people who control air. Okay, matter of fact, let me simplify it. You always hear me say the seventh answer, she gives us clearance to take off. she constructs everything that go on. Let's say now we were a money making enterprise, and we tell Seventh Answer, look, come on in, continue to do all that you do for us, but we're not paying you for it. But yet we lack in technical know-how, aptitude, and everything else that she's an expert in, but she's got a kind heart. But listen, even the most kindest of hearts get tired when they know someone is trying to make an ass and a sucker of them. And then here she shuts everything down. Now, I don't have a technical bone in my body. I can admit that. I know certain things, but not in depth. So I be done. I can admit that. So this man is letting you know, but we told you, these Trump and these fools are playing Russian roulette with people's lives. What if some of these FAA workers are ticking time bomb? Remember we bought that out? A lot of ticking time bombs. These are the same individuals who could deliberately have planes crashing. They could deliberately, not caring about nothing, jack up a lot of flights and everything else. Matter of fact, think about that movie Die Hard 2. How you had that renegade crack commando team take over the airports and had and took over the FAA's job, and indeed were jacking up planes and flights. This is what Trump and his Nazi bunch are doing right now. Think about it as the conversation continues. Take it away, Seventh Answer.
We are now seeing is higher income earners are now shopping or pretty much spending their money at McDonald's and fast food restaurants. Let me just give you an example here. I can go to McDonald's and I can get a decent meal, pretty much a Happy Meal. You can get it for like $6. Okay. If I were to cook that same meal, get fries, a drink, really nothing. I don't need a toy. I don't need apple slices. But let's say I had a burger, I had fries, had a drink. Okay. For me to make a hamburger at my house, buying cheese, buying the bun, the bread, the condiments, everything, right? The meat, it's going to cost me about the same. But yet it takes me more time to do it. Yeah, obviously it's healthier, but that's not the point. The point is this. Many higher income earners are now looking at ways to save money. And honestly, going to McDonald's, going to Wendy's and getting a biggie bag, going and getting something from like Burger King, even their kids' meals like, what, $3-4. Again, cheap. Many higher income earners are now going to those locations in order to save money. That's a problem. Speaking of another problem, the Supreme Court.
Locked up at Chowchilla Women's Facility, Folsom, California Institute for Women, or anywhere else in the
Look at this. The Supreme Court confronts Trump's power to disrupt world trade. What we now know is the Supreme Court, and it could happen any time, they are going to look over and determine whether or not it is legal for President Trump to impose reciprocal tariffs on other countries. Okay? It says right here, hanging in the balance are tens of billions of dollars in duties now paid monthly by American importers and Trump's ability to reshape global flows of goods and capital. Legal scholars say the implications extend far beyond the economic consequences to the very reach of the U.S. presidency. Okay, look right here. This is when President Trump in the gray. This is when he was in office. Okay, you can see how much he was bringing in tariff revenue, and then President Biden. You saw a little bit go up, and then obviously it came back down. And then President Trump jumps in, and you see it skyrockets almost $32 billion in September. Okay. Some of this money could be sent back, be given back to the importer on record. Okay, that could be a huge loss to the Trump administration. But also, it's the same time we are seeing additional price increases and additional inflation. This is why some are saying that we're waiting on the Supreme Court, but at the same time, we're waiting on jobs numbers. We're not getting the true data. Okay, we're just not getting it. And I showed you this, I was talked about this as well. Okay, when we see U.S. private payrolls rebound in October, they have, according to the ADP National Employment Report. Okay, it showed that we did see an increase of 42,000 jobs. But the problem is that's a survey. That's not the report that everyone's looking at. That's not the report that the Federal Reserve is going to look at next month when they decide if they are going to cut interest rates again. But as all this stuff's happening, look what happened last night. Democrats sweep first major elections of second Trump term. Okay, so Democratic Socialist Mamdani triumphs in New York City's mayoral race. Okay, we know Prop 50 passed in California, so this is going to allow voters redistricting. Again, interesting. But as this is happening, President Trump is now pushing the Senate to pretty much blow up the filibuster and get the government open, because right now it's causing more pain, more heartache, more struggles for millions of Americans.
Yeah, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. $40 billion for Argentina, $9 billion for Ukraine. All right, all this money for these wars and everything else, but no money for people who are working. And see, now you understand big picture. Now you understand when the seventh Anson broke down why all those federal workers losing their job, especially out the IRS. Who can now audit what Trump and the Nazi bunch are doing now? Huh? Who can be used as the system of accountancy in the area of checks and balances if you're getting rid of those who are capable of doing so? Oh my goodness. Look at where we're at. These dark and perilous times. But like I said, now as you can see, there are a great many people who are up on it. They see how real this Bible is. They see how real we here on the Lion's Den, how we've been for years prophesying what was going to come. And now it's happening. Full stop. Non-stop. But you know what? We flying high. We on a higher altitude, higher frequency. And yeah, it's scary, but still, there is no saving what is destined to die. Bottom line. Now let's keep the energy going. Listen to this, cutie pie.
Crisis here in America for many years now. That's nothing new. But with the new bills that have been introduced to criminalize homelessness, a lot of people are getting worried.
It's okay. 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 It's okay.
Well, there goes your home.
Yep.
And again, they offered no other type of resources, no shelter, nothing.
Nothing. They just pulled us over as soon as they hit 8 o'clock.
And there's
And when we were already on the way to go, like we were already in the car ready to go, like everything was ready to go. If they just waited 1 minute, we could have been out of here.
and all your belongings in the RV are now on a sidewalk
Yeah.
with your beautiful dog.
Yes.
Well, I'm really sorry.
I mean, that's how the law works, I guess, or I don't know. I really don't know. I just feel like they could have gave us 5 more minutes and we would have been out of here if they just would have got out of our way, you know?
Now, I don't think it's going to stop people from living in their vehicles. I really don't, because it is just so expensive to find a place to live now. But I do believe that people are going to start getting more creative with where they do live, with where they park their car, where they park their van. They're going to get more creative with having an RV and where they park it.
Here are the 5 best places to stealth camp. Number 1, right at the gym. When I first started living in my car, I parked outside the gym. There's cars going in and out. They think you're at the gym, they're not going to bother you. Number 2, parking structures. Sometimes you got to pay an overnight fee for these, but honestly, it feels the most safe. I did this when I was in LA. Parking structures are my favorite places to park and sleep. Number 3, right outside an apartment complex. Don't take anybody's spot. Find a place where you could just park, cover your windows. No one's going to bother you. Number 4, this is where I've stayed at most of the last couple months, and rest stops. They've been super perfect. There's a restroom nearby, outside the train station rest stop. It's been perfect. And lastly, number 5, grocery store parking lots, Walmart parking lots. If you see a camper out there, it's a good place to park. Good luck out there.
I got people asking me all the time, like, yo, bro, why are you living in your car? Why won't you do something to get out of that situation? And I'm like, look around. We live in a world that's ran and controlled by psychopaths that lie, cheat, and steal on a regular basis. Everybody who's trying to do the right thing is miserable. I don't want to be miserable. We got one shot at this life as far as we know, and I'd rather be happy. And to me, happiness is freedom. And if that means living in my car up in the mountains of Arizona, then so be it. And I'll continue facing whatever struggles I have to face in order to get by and survive. But I'd rather be doing this than what I used to be doing, living in a city, working for someone else, paying way too much just to live in general. No, thank you.
So y'all, this is my bed. This is what I sleep in. Been living in it for the last year. Now we have my power station, my little fan. Just chilling in the parking lot.
I've been sleeping under a lot of bridges lately. The best part isn't even the privacy though. Like, sure, nobody's gonna be coming down here in the middle of Iowa and seeing my tent under this bridge. The best part isn't even the fact that I stay dry in the rain. The best part is sitting on top of the bridge and watching the sunset, knowing I have a spot to sleep when it's all said and done.
Why would I pay for a campground when this is free?
If you're tired of filling out your personal info on multiple comparison websites,
It's really heartbreaking to watch how people are living nowadays because of the cost of living. And I really think if you're not able to be in a home and if you have the ability to get an RV, that is a much better way to go. Have an RV, try and get into an RV park, somewhere that it's not too expensive to stay, that allows for long-term stays. Also, if you have someone that you know that the RV can be parked at their residence, and if you can get away with it, then that would be another good option. And I say if you can get away with it because there's usually regulations as to, you know, being able to park an RV on somebody's lot and have it plugged in and, you know, live there.
I quit my job unexpectedly 2 weeks ago. I had just had enough. So I went in and just told them that I quit. I am getting ready to put my house on the market. I've been packing, cleaning, painting, and after it sells, I'm gonna buy an RV and hit the road.
I just got this trailer for $3,000 and now I'm living in National Park. I found this amazing trailer on Facebook Marketplace for just under $4,000. We were able to talk them down on the price and we got a really good deal on it. So this is now our front and backyard. My cat's in the crate, ignore him crying. We don't have the inside set up yet because we have not moved our stuff, but this is what it's looking like. We have a full fridge and kitchen, including a microwave and stove. There's the 4-foot pull-out. We have a dinette that we're going to turn into a couch eventually. We have this full bathroom with a walk-in shower. And then we have the full bedroom. I'm gonna be living in this for the next few years. I've been wanting to do this since I was a teenager. So being able to do this right before my 23rd birthday is actually a dream come true, and I'm so excited to start this new chapter of my life. We're about 10 minutes from town, so it's not a far drive to get into civilization at all, but we're still pretty secluded. It feels really private. I think my biggest negatives as we are currently are bugs. I hate bugs. And 2, there are wild hogs, but we have not run into them personally, so I'm hoping that we never have to experience that. Other than that, I'm actually so excited to start this.
So right now I'm in my 2025 Scamp trailer, RV trailer, guys. I bought it a week ago. I did a lot of research. One thing I did not keep in mind or realize is that I'm in a small travel size trailer, AKA when storms hit, baby, there was a storm in Houston, Texas last night, and it was so bad that I was looking like, I thought something was about to come through the window. I thought something was going to come through my fan. I was so scared. Like, I was ready to pack this up and go to somebody's house or something because...
And I've been following the news here for our nearest city, and they're already planning what to do with the homeless encampments because of the new bills that have been introduced. And they're taking action. There are some things that they're already doing. So this is going into play. And then look also what's happening right now in DC. So they're taking action on people that are homeless, people that are living in vehicles, and it's a real issue. If you have a place to call home right now, an apartment, a home, whatever it is that you do have, make sure that you have a backup plan. What is your plan B if your rent goes up too much, if you lose your job, if for whatever reason you find yourself not being able to live there anymore? What if the landlord doesn't renew the lease? If you find yourself in a situation like that, make sure you have a plan B. Start thinking about where you can go, who you can live with, so that you don't necessarily end up in a situation that you really are going to be upset about. And especially with the new things that are coming down the pipeline with the bills and potential laws being enacted, you don't know how ugly this is really going to potentially get. So think about that. Don't wait until something is happening for you to really start to think about a plan B. Think about that in advance because it's really important and we need to take responsibility for ourselves. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you seeing any action in your nearest city?
$9 billion for Ukraine, but no money, no bailout for American peoples and populace. Everybody now resorting to getting RVs. And then here it is, in some instances, if you park the wrong way, you park in the wrong angle, you get it taken from you. How evil and cruel. The land of the land of the freaks and the home of the depraved. America ain't worth a damn. This is where we're at now. So the Most High said he would pull up her skirt and he will reveal her for the rottenness and for the evil that she is. And man, biblical prophecy happening right on schedule. Now, for those of you out there who are enjoying this conversation, we thank you for your support. Hit the like and subscribe button. Share this show as well. And if you've been unsubscribed, make sure you get back on your subscription. You know, because they're out there. There are people out here, our cyber stalkers. They are unsubscribing a lot of people on the low. But we're going to keep the energy going because nothing's going to stop us. We're going to keep on going. But this is where we're at in America, y'all. The land of the free, home of the brave. Let's keep the energy going. Fair use, y'all. Fair use.
Come on now. Hey, bro, for the I think for the first 10, 20, 30 years, black people couldn't even get that shit. So how could it ever have been for us? Come on now. Let's use our brains, the ones that God gave us.
A lot of people that are on food stamps and live in really poor areas also are Trump voters.
I voted for him for lower grocery prices. Not only has that not happened, I'm getting my food stamps taken. I did not ask for this.
I ain't gonna hold y'all, dog. That first video looked AI. And it sound AI. Come on, man. I gotta call a spade, bro. Listen, I'm the voice of reason. I gotta be real with y'all. I don't think that was a real video.
Am I a bad person because I got a little smile on my face when I found out that 42% of the people that receive SNAP benefits are white people in red states?
This is for all the MAGA voters posting about not giving a shit about people not getting their SNAP benefits. Quick education, 55% of whites voted for Trump. Whites are the people who use SNAP benefits the most. They make up 37% of SNAP benefit recipients. And most of those people are in the Southeast and other rural areas.
But you gotta understand though, dog, a lot of white people don't identify as welfare recipients. They identify as recipients of public assistance. It's a difference, you know?
There's white people are coming here on this app and they're talking about people that benefit from food stamps, which most of them happen to be white. Most of them happen to live in Republican states, red states. Now, don't blame the Democrats because this is absolutely Trump's doing. He can fund it if he wanted to. He's funding ICE. He's sending $40 billion to Argentina. Why are you not mad with him? The only thing the Democrats want to do is make sure that you have affordable health care and people are getting their notice. So not only you're not going to have your food stamps until the government is back in order, but you're going to have a big freaking health care bill coming January. And before you start coming over here complaining about the Democrats, I need you to go to the videos in which people are crying, teachers, healthcare professionals, in which their insurance has doubled or even tripled. Good luck on trying to get food and trying to stay healthy.
Baby, what? Say, bro, look, you got to understand something too. Think about all the poor white people that live in these red states like Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, and all them kind of places. In rural places, they have to have food stamps. They ain't got no jobs out there, bro. Yeah. Big daddy government taking care of them. Them the ones on the internet talking all that shit. Get your black ass out my country, boy. I'm hungry. Trump said he was going to fix all of this. He said it was those immigrants causing us these problems. Dog, this shit funny as hell to me, bro. I ain't gonna hold y'all.
White TikTok is in a frenzy, and while I have my voice right now, I'm gonna use that hoe. They don't understand how their SNAP benefits are being cut off in November. They literally thought when they heard SNAP benefits, it was only gonna hit the black folks, okay? Now I'm gonna say this. When the government shuts down, it does not just shut down for one particular group of people. It shuts down for everybody. So yes, white people in the Midwest, these Appalachian white folks, y'all ain't gonna have y'all shit either. Now I am gonna say this, when you decided to vote for that man, you put a wild card on the table during UNO. You don't know which way this man is gonna go. And no, I am not blaming Democrats once again.
Seeing white people in real time come on this platform with the realization that SNAP benefits is the same thing as food stamps and EBT, it's quite comedic. I can't lie, it's a little funny. And not funny, haha, funny, weird, because they did the same shit with Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act. They didn't realize that they were one and the same.
But you got to understand something. You're assuming that these people are intelligent. You assuming that these people have two brain cells to rub together. I want to show y'all a video or something real quick. This shit gonna make your ass laugh, dog. I swear to God. Listen to this. Kentucky voters were mad that the polling places were closed yesterday. But watch this. Watch this. Kentucky is a red state.
This thing happened on November 4th in Kentucky. Kentucky voters were very mad that polling places were closed that day.
Wait till you hear this shit.
What was going on? Why couldn't Kentucky voters get to the polls? Because Kentucky didn't have any elections going on. But people were still showing up to vote. Michael Adams, the Kentucky Secretary of State, said, "We're getting calls about polls being closed. They are closed because we do not have elections today. Kentucky votes next year. You cannot vote today in Kentucky for the mayor of New York City or the governor of Virginia. Sorry." And then he quote tweeted himself, said, have I mentioned my repeated call for civic education? The people of Kentucky want
idiots, bro. Idiots, man. These are the people that put the man in office. Bro, you need to be able to take a civics course, a test, just to have the right to vote nowadays, bro. I promise you, dog.
Your phone can instantly turn into a tablet. This is a
Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, EBT, food stamps, they're all the same, just different. One is just like the government official name. I don't know. That's the thing about racism and being racist. It's a sickness. It's a disease that's generational, if we're being quite frank. And y'all don't want to heal from it. Y'all don't want to get better because you feel like you can stand on some imaginary pedestal instead of allowing everyone to get benefits that make all of our lives better. You will cut off your nose to spite your face. You will shoot yourself in the foot in the name of making things difficult for a demographic that you just don't like, for something that they can't change, their skin. But then you don't realize you're hurting yourself too. And a lot of these politicians, the only color they care about is green. Money is their god. Money.
Which one of them don't care about the power of green? Watch this, dog. I'm gonna show y'all something, man. This shit it shouldn't blow your mind if you follow any type of news. How many politicians at the Congress or congressional level, whatever, Congress level, are millionaires? Well, I spelled all that shit wrong. More than half of the current members of the United States Congress are millionaires, as indicated by their personal finance disclosures and recent analysis. While exact numbers for the 119th Congress in 2025 are not yet fully compiled, past reports show that this benchmark has been consistent since the 113th Congress, where at least 268 out of 534 members reported net worth exceeding 1 million. You don't become a millionaire and you don't care about the color of green. You don't. You gotta care about money. If you really were a public servant, you wouldn't probably be no damn millionaire, honestly.
Is who they serve.
Absolutely love your comment. Okay, love it. You are correct with a note. 1 to 2%. Okay, you are very, very close. I'm sure you did your fact checking, but you brought up something very important about race, and it does need to be talked about because you are correct. The data you talked about. So the latest USDA stats do show us that about 36 to 38% of SNAP participants are white, aka on the form, non-Hispanic. That means 62 to 64% are from other racial/ethnic groups. But it also means that this is a nationwide program. It reaches across racial lines and economic classes, right? So if someone were to tell you SNAP is only for minorities, that's definitely false. It's for low-income people of all races. I will get into why I just stated that here shortly. But let's get into the racial data and why it actually does matter and why your comment matters so much right now. So authoritarian governments have historically used divide and conquer, telling one group, you pay, they're taking it, or they're different than you. If people believe it's just for them over there and not for themselves, they may accept cuts actually when their own community is targeted next. The fact that a significant portion of recipients are white means any rollback is still everyone's problem, not just one racial group.
So many racist white people are okay with SNAP benefits being removed from everybody in the United States of America, and they sit here and act like they're not the largest recipients of SNAP benefits in this country.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joe Report, where we get an outsider's view with an insider's clarity. Let's talk about something that's got a lot of people, especially white folks, really mad right now. You ever notice how some people love to talk trash about lazy welfare users or people living off food stamps? Well, guess what? Turns out the group using SNAP the most is white Americans. Yeah, not who a lot of people expected, right? And now that the Tease administration's new cuts to food benefits are set to kick in on November 1st, suddenly, those same people who used to say get a job are realizing the government's about to come for their grocery money. You can't make this stuff up. Before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. Let's watch a few more clips and I'll be back with more commentary.
I don't see how they could be surprised, man. Anytime they giving out anything all willy-nilly, they ain't just gave it to no black folks. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the government grants and shit that they was giving out, the Homestead Acts and all that kind of stuff. It was never meant to just be given to us. Man, they ain't just give us out no land frivolously.
People frequently claim that immigrants and poor black families are living off the system. They're on welfare. They're mooching. But here is the truth. The majority of people on public assistance in the United States of America are white.
In America, there is a misconception about who is on welfare. Now, let me just say this. There is no one program in the United States that constitutes welfare. There are many social programs in the United States that are part of what the United States calls the social safety net, which is really not much of a safety net at all when you consider the meager benefits that people receive. So what I've decided to do is look quickly at the statistics from the last census. Now, this holds true going back, but actually in the last 20 years, it has increased. The number of people receiving public benefits of some sort or another has increased amongst one particular demographic, and that is amongst white people. 20 years ago, 61% of all the people receiving public benefits of some kind in the United States were white people. Okay. Today,
a Facebook post lands one man.
6.2% of all the people receiving some form of public benefit were white people.
You get to see the true America. The stipulation has always been that black people are lazy, that black people are on welfare. Well, guess what? A lot of poor white people in the red states are now crying that they're not getting the EBT money from the EBT cards. Why? Because they are on welfare. They have 7 and 8 kids. Now the truth is coming out since Trump has slashed funding for the EBT and the SNAP programs. You see how many white people now are on welfare. So all this mythical stuff about black people being on welfare, oh, it's the blacks, it's the blacks, it's the blacks. Now you're seeing the real America, that it's not only black people on welfare, that there are a lot of white people on welfare also. There are a lot of white people, a lot of poor people living in those red states, and those red states that voted for Trump are now getting hit hard.
Facts. And listen, dog, they gotta stop painting that narrative like us black folks just all poor, starving, living in the ghetto and shit, man. Half of us are middle class. Real talk, man. How many black families, percentage wise, are middle class? Approximately 37% of black households in the United States are considered middle class or higher, earning $75,000 or more annually. If you break that down by men, what about black men? More than half of black men in the United States, around 57%, have reached middle class or higher economic status as adults. Then you got motherfuckers that fix their mouth talking about something. Yeah, you gotta worry about this man behind you. He might stab you in your back and shoot you and rob you. What we gonna rob you for? We living good. God damn it. We have to work twice as hard to get it. You think we want to lose it all of a sudden by playing with you? Come on now. Make it make sense, dog. If we're gonna be anything, we gotta be for real.
NAP is the country's biggest food aid program. It's meant to help low-income families afford groceries, and about 40 million Americans.
Oh, this messed me up just now. Like, I know this white lady don't sound like that.
Rely on it every single month. For years, we've been told the stereotype that food stamps are a black issue, like only black and brown people are using them, but the actual numbers say otherwise. According to the USDA, around 35% of SNAP users are white, while only about 26% are black, 16% are Hispanic, and 4% are Asian. So in raw numbers, white Americans make up the biggest group depending on food stamps. That's just the math, not politics, not feelings. And when that truth hit the internet, oh, people are furious. So here's the thing. America has has always had a messed up relationship with poverty. Being broke isn't just hard, it's seen as shameful. And the way politicians sold that shame for decades was by racializing it. They made welfare sound like something only minorities used, while plenty of white working class families were quietly sweeping EBT cards right along with everyone else. That's not an insult, that's reality. But it means a lot of white Americans grew up thinking, I'm not one of those people. Now they're finding out they've been part of those people the whole time, and it's messing with their heads. And to make
Say, dog, you know what I'm thinking about doing just as a social experiment, bro? I think I'm gonna go get hired at Walmart, get some of the Meta glasses in a white part of town, and just record every time I see somebody using an EBT card that's not black.
it worse. Just as that realization sets in, here comes the TIS government cutting SNAP benefits starting November 1st. The new policy, buried in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act, adds stricter work requirements and limits who can qualify. If you're an able-bodied adult between 18 and 64 without kids, you've got to prove you're working or doing job training at least 80 hours a month, or you lose your benefits. States used to have some flexibility to waive those rules in high unemployment areas, but that's getting stripped away too. Combine that with Washington's latest budget standoff, and the USDA is already warning some benefits might be delayed or slashed come November. And who's going to feel it hardest? Not just inner cities, but rural, white, working class America. Now, that's where the FAFO part comes in. For years, a lot of these same communities supported politicians who promised to cut welfare, thinking it wouldn't affect them. They voted for tough talk about entitlement reform, assuming that meant cutting programs for other people. But when the cuts start hitting their own counties, their own parents, and their own kids' school lunches, suddenly it's not so funny anymore. They're realizing that welfare reform isn't a slogan, it's a meal missing from your table.
I'm seeing a lot of videos right now where a lot of people are really pissed at Trump. They weren't mad at him when they got to see other people lose stuff, but now that it affects them.
And here's the irony. Many white families using SNAP live in conservative Republican voting states, places like Kentucky, West Virginia, and Tennessee, where dependence on government aid is actually higher than in a lot of blue states. But that's not something you'll hear at the campaign rallies.
And I just showed you how stupid Kentucky is. They were trying to vote for the mayor of New York.
Politicians love to talk about lazy people abusing the system until they realize most of those lazy people they're talking about look exactly like the folks cheering them
that's
on.
your cousin.
Now let's be real. This isn't just about race. It's about class. It's about the fact that millions of Americans of every color are working hard and still can't afford groceries. Wages haven't kept up. Rent is through the roof, and food prices are ridiculous. SNAP isn't a handout. It's a survival tool. And it's not just for the poor. It's for working families who've been squeezed to the point that they can't make it from paycheck to paycheck without help. But when you cut that help in the middle of inflation, what you're really saying is, good luck starving quietly. What's really wild is the emotional reaction. A lot of white SNAP users online are shocked, and a few are flat out denying the data. But you can only ignore reality for so long. The system isn't broken because of who uses it. It's broken because Americans have been lied to about who it's for. The whole welfare queen myth, the idea that food stamps are only for minorities, that was propaganda. And now, the truth's coming back around to bite. Meanwhile, food banks in rural America are bracing for chaos. If the federal cuts hits in November, they're expecting a wave of new demand from families who've never asked for help before. These are people who've always prided themselves on doing it themselves, who now have to face the fact that the safety net they once ignored is the only thing keeping them afloat. And that's the part that stings the most. But maybe, just maybe, this moment can wake people up. Poverty doesn't care what color you are. Hunger doesn't care who you voted for. And when a government that claims to fight for the working class turns around and slashes their grocery money, maybe that's the moment when folks realize the problem isn't who's getting help. The problem is why so many people need it in the first place. So yeah, white Americans are furious, but they're not just mad at the government. They're mad at the mirror. They're realizing they were never separate from the system they looked down on. They were part of it all along. And now that the safety net's getting yanked, it's not about them anymore. It's about you.
If you are naive enough to think that the pause to SNAP benefits on November 1st isn't going to affect you because you don't receive food stamps, I want you to hear this. About 1 in 8 Americans receive SNAP benefits. In fact, in Oklahoma, where I live, that's 1 in 6 people. So about 600,000 people in my state alone, Oklahoma, receive SNAP benefits.
So what do you all think? Are you surprised to learn that white Americans make up the largest share of SNAP users? And how do you think cutting benefits like this will impact rural and working class communities? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. Also have another video.
Hey man, then they get they so damn bold, bro. They get on here and they start saying You know what? The problem is these lazy, non-producing N-words. They like to sell these food stamps for weaves and to buy their boys Jordans and Air Forces and these Dracos and these, you know about these switches that they put on these Glock 19s and things of that nature? This is what they're spending these food stamps on. We gotta cut it. We can't have a bunch of YNs running around here spending this food stamp money that you pay $36 a year into, robbing the taxpayer. If we stand for this, we'll stand for anything. And they eat it up, bro. It's crazy as hell, man. But yeah, man, the Joy Report, man, go get her a subscribe, man. I hope y'all like the video. I'm going to keep putting them out. I like this type of shit. Yeah, I ain't scared, bro. Holla at your boy. Hit that sub.
Can hear you.
And we're back. We're back. Now, you see how we told you how the welfare system is structured? You see now how the truth is now coming out? You see how the Lord is now bringing all this to the fore? You see what happens when you've been living a lie and the truth just comes in and knocks everything to and fro? Well, to all my white listeners out there and all everybody else who believed all those lies, we told you. We told you. And like I said, we're living in a very beautiful time. Because see now, our redemption, our salvation is indeed nearer than we believe, brothers and sisters out here. We the children of Israel, please understand that the fall of the society biblically was ordained that the Esau will be the last and Jacob will be the first. And that's what we're looking at now, the fall of the last bastion of the ancient Edomites. Today they're being called white folk. And your leaders are taking you to hell while we are just continuing to reveal and show and expose. Like I said, we talked about it here, and now there are other voices talking and speaking. Check this out. Fair use.
Too many privileged white people are coming here on this app and they're talking about people that benefit from food stamps, which most of them happen to be white. Most of them happen to live in Republican states, red states.
And one thing I kept seeing was that welfare was created for white people. I knew that it was created during the New Deal, so I did some more research because I didn't really know the whole story, and I thank you guys for responding and helping me learn stuff.
You're welcome.
Government assistance was made for white people. The fact that the programs are made in like 1935, like in the 1930s, says it all right there, given the fact that black people were not even considered people under the law at that time. But I've really been doing some more research and reading, and I read an article and they were talking about how like up until like the 60s or 70s, black people really could not qualify for government assistance. And that is absolutely disheartening, being that now it hasn't even been 100 years later that black people are now the face of all racial stereotypes regarding government assistance in Section 8. Meanwhile, these same programs were never even made for us. Meanwhile, black people had to jump through hoops to get qualified. Meanwhile, people talk about black fathers not being in the home, and these same government institutions were not wanting the men to be there. Like, what the fuck?
Somebody get me the fuck off of white TikTok. Like, for real. Get me off of it. I need black people to start commenting ASAP because I'm over there and them asses are talking about, oh my God, do y'all know SNAP benefits come from us? We give out SNAP benefits. It comes from us. It was created for y'all. The first white person to receive SNAP benefits was what, 1939? And her name was Maybelle, and she lived in New York. And baby, when black folks tried to get it, they excluded the sharecroppers as well. And then white wholesalers manipulated the program and profited off of it, leaving black folks out to the dust. Now what stopped that shit was the Food Stamp Act of 1964. 64, y'all. My mama was born in 65. So let me get this straight. White people, y'all have benefited off of food stamps longer than any other race in this fucking country. Black folks just got that shit for real in 1964. Hell, we got that before we got our voting rights. And then in the 1980s, y'all got pissed off that we were getting actual help. And y'all started coming up with the trope, the welfare queen, saying black people and black women in particular were using food stamps to get over on the government, leading to increased restrictions and eligibility. Restrictions only harmed low-income people of color, i.e. black folks. As of 2023, 37% of white people in America are on SNAP. 26% are black and 16% are Hispanic. So who's really living off our shit? Y'all get on my nerves. Now, don't blame the Democrats because this is absolutely Trump's doing. He can fund it if he wanted to. He's funding ICE. He's sending $40 billion to Argentina. Why are you not mad with him? The only thing the Democrats want to do is make sure that you have affordable health care and people are getting their notice. So not only you're not going to have your food stamps until the government is back in order, but you're going to have a big freaking healthcare bill coming January. And before you start coming over here complaining about the Democrats, I need you to go to the videos in which people are crying, teachers, healthcare professionals, in which their insurance has doubled or even tripled. Good luck on trying to get food and trying to stay healthy. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, but this is the frustration that we have with you, a lot of MAGA people, because you guys still haven't done your due diligence in reading Project 2025, in which they are trying to destabilize the government and that they want to do away with all the safety net. Why? Because it caused chaos. But I'm going to tell you who's going to be just fine. It's going to be the black and brown people because we have always been resilient.
So I posted about white folks on food stamps. And one thing I kept seeing was that welfare was created for white people. I knew that it was created during the New Deal, so I did some more research because I didn't really know the whole story, and I thank you guys for responding and helping me learn stuff. So during the Great Depression is when we saw the beginning of things like Social Security, unemployment insurance. But here's the kicker. When Franklin Roosevelt built those programs, he had to make deals with Southern Democrats in Congress, the same folks who were big fans of Jim Crow, to get the support of these racist white Southern politicians. The programs were designed to exclude farm workers, domestic workers, jobs held overwhelmingly by Black, Latino, and Indigenous people. So right from the start, Black and brown families were pushed out of benefits so that white people could get them. Then we move forward to the 1960s, and there's this war on poverty. It finally opened up welfare programs more broadly, and that's when food stamps became permanent. Well, permanent, we don't know what Trump's going to do to them, but they lasted a long time. And guess what? The minute more Black and brown families started accessing this help, the politics shifted. Welfare got a new image and a new target. By the 1980s and 90s, with Ronald Reagan and his gang, they pushed the welfare queen myth. That's a racist dog whistle meant to turn public opinion against safety nets by blaming Black women for poverty that white policies created. That's the truth, you guys. So yes, welfare was built for white people, and when others finally got in the door, they tried to burn the house down. If you want to blame the right people, you got to get curious.
I don't even know who thought of getting me this, but it's genius. It's 2000.
To this episode, and thank you so much for tuning in.
And let's have this discussion. For so long, the food snap have been used in the racial propaganda. They have been trying to push this narrative that the food programs have been helping the minority community more than the white folks. But the reality have come out. People are saying it loud that it is the red state that have been receiving the big share. The Kentucky, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and other red states have been receiving a large share, and that is being said loud by even the white folks. And even in this video, you can actually see there is most white people who are actually benefiting from these food programs more than the black folks. But as always, there have been these propaganda that these food programs is benefiting the black folks, is benefiting the minority community, even going to an extent of thinking that the black folks get help from the food snap because they are lazy. But in reality, it is the white folks who receive the largest share. And even if we go back to history, we'll find that the food snap, the food programs actually started around 1930s, and by then the black folks had not gained the right to vote. Therefore, they could not push for this welfare. Therefore, this welfare was created for the white folks. And when the black folks started being included, that is when the white conservative pulled out and went against it, started campaigning against it. But before then, they were just happy. They were just okay with it. It was helping the poor white folks by that time. But as we always say, racism is all about jealousy. When the black folks that started being included, that is when they felt that we don't feel these food programs. But even in that, their campaign was actually to blame the minority community for getting help. And they call it socialism. But that was just a propaganda, while on the ground, it was the white folks who are actually benefiting more. And that is where people are taking side. Do you think that these SNAP programs have been benefiting the white folks more? And to an extent that even the white folks who are being helped thought that the black folks were the majority who are receiving the big share. But right now, they actually know, or they are caught by surprise, that the majority of food stamps were going to the white folks. Let me know what you think about this. What do you think about this? Do you think the food snap was created and has been benefiting the white folks more than the minority community, and the propaganda was being pushed that these food snap have been helping the black folks because they are lazy? Let me know what you think. But as you can see the reality in the video, and just finish watching the video and give me your opinion. Until we meet next time, this has been a discussion. Let me know your opinion in the comment section. Keep it respectfully. We are just sharing opinion in this channel. So let's keep the comments respectfully. Until we meet next time, peace, life, and harmony, and let's finish watching the videos.
Now,
I was the first one to ever join the military.
Of course. These programs have been benefiting white people more. But see, What was the problem? What let us hear the Lions Den clarify what white folks, when they found out a lot of black folks, especially the Republicans, they had a big problem with the fact that when a lot of black folks were using the welfare system, the National Recovery Act, and all of the different names, when they were using that system to catapult themselves to go to school, get better jobs, and high grade pay, oh, that's when welfare, according to Richard Milhouse Nixon, the president of that time back in the 70s especially, Spiro Agnew, the vice president, and others, oh, that's when welfare became a dreaded thing. Because black folks were actually using it to springboard to a better life. They weren't using it for life. Like a lot of white folks yesterday and today have been using it. That's when it became a dreaded thing. When they found out black folks were using it to springboard into better lives, middle class, better jobs, going to school, because they were programs that were being offered in that time frame. And the white folks couldn't stand it. The Republican, Ronald Reagan, then governor of California, Richard Nixon, and all the other Republican bunch of that time couldn't stand it. So again, they made up all these tropes, capitalizing on the willful ignorance of a lot of white folks, poor white folks, who were also using the program for their benefit and their betterment. But they used it now to say, see, black folks are eating up all the welfare, and that's why you can't get your money, because we got to give it to them. Playing games, people. And now, 50 years up from all that, the truth is finally coming out. But don't forget, here on the Lions Den, we took you on that pathway. We broke it down to you to a science. I just want to let that be known. Let's keep the energy going, Seventh Answer. Oh.
Interrupt her. Hi, I'm back to teach.
That not happened. I'm getting my food stamps taken. I did not ask for this.
Well, it seems like a good enough time as any to interrupt her. Hi, I'm back to teach white people more shit. Well, mostly white people, because that's who keeps popping up on my FYP, just cheering on the fact that we won't have any SNAP benefits for November. So I thought I'd do a little research. Yeah, and I'm using Alabama as my example because that's the state I live in. And I got my data here that I'm about to read to you from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, and also because I know how to do basic math. Well, I do, but I double check it with Siri because I did receive an Alabama education, so there's a anyways that's neither here nor there. I said, you know, how many people in the state of Alabama, our population, are on SNAP benefits? And they said 750,000 to 800,000 people in the state of Alabama are on SNAP benefits, and that's our population, by the way, is 5 million. So that makes it 15 to 16% of our population are receiving SNAP benefits. And I said, so if we took each state, the percentage of their population on SNAP, and ranked them from highest to lowest, where on that list would Alabama fall? And we are the 11th highest on SNAP benefits. It's not really that good. They said 1 in 6 households receive SNAP benefits. I said, out of curiosity, how many people in the state of Alabama receiving SNAP benefits are white? It said 37%. I said, okay. That's about the same as our national average, so to be expected. I'm just going to give you a little bit more information to tie this up. 64% of the population voted for Donald Trump. 64% of the people who voted in 2024 voted for Donald Trump. And 77% of those people were white voters. And that comes from the Pew Research Center. I hope that helps.
And there you have it, folks. As we continue on and press on and show you just where we're at, and we're now living in this time where everything is being revealed. Everything is coming to the fore. People are talking now. And as you can tell, Lions Den got a lot of folks talking. We got a lot of folks out here talking. We out here showing you from the biblical perspective, which encompasses all other perspective, because see, we're dealing with biblical prophecy, prediction. And the bottom line is, look, it's like this. Brace yourselves, brothers and sisters. This ride gonna get bumpier as these demons walking with earthly feet are gonna get more desperate. All that you see happening right now is being done deliberate, because their intent is to try to fight God himself. They don't want to give this up, but it was never theirs. It was never meant to be theirs forever. And now they realizing their handwriting is on the wall. Esau, you only making it worse for yourself. For my white listeners in particular, all of y'all, you know that your forefathers have doomed you. If no one else is going to spell it out for you, we have. And it's not because your skin color has been so-called white, but look at how you rule this world. Your actions, your deeds have not been right. And just like everybody else that stood, now your time to fall is in full effect. You had the chance to repent and reform, but nah. You all made it worse when you've had these identity thieves go into the land of Israel. And it's been even worse, more downhill, considering they're the ones who are maneuvering all of these things via AIPAC. Don't forget the Seventh Ancestry. We showed you that. We proved that to you. Just go back and watch every episode of the Lions Den that we've been producing. And now everybody is getting up on it. Now everybody's talking. Even people who can barely speak English now are trying to get in on the conversation as it continues. Look, all we can do here is inform you and lay things out to you bare. I wish there was more I could do for our people, but then again, it has been ordained that a great majority and a great percentage of the wicked of our people must be dealt with and annihilated too. That whole 2/3 factor, if you believe that. But this Exodus is coming. It's going to be brutal. And it's only a matter of time before the angelic forces come here and wage war. That's another reason why this government is getting ready. That's another reason why the attacks on us have been escalating. They can't get to our God, so they try to get to us. But even that polarity is being changed. And the fight back, to get back, is starting to come now. Because every privilege afforded to you, white America, is now being revoked by the Lord. Bit by bit, piece by piece. And some of you, this is why you're crashing out now. But I'm going to say this to you. You have every reason to be scared. You should be scared. Job 18:11 said the terrorists shall surround you in these last days. And you have every reason to be afraid. Because look at the beat down the Lord put upon us, and we're his chosen. But look what he allowed us to endure when we rebelled against him. Though it wasn't supposed to be done to the point that y'all took it, feeding us to alligators, raping men and women, selling us like cattle and chicken and commodities, psychologically traumatizing us, depriving us of a proper education where we couldn't read nor write, bro. And even now, they're gunning us down through the Gestapo and criminals disguised as police. You haven't stopped. So now, your time, Esau, white America, whatever name you want to use, is now at hand. And as we come to a closing to another very high-powered episode of The Lion's Den, the conversation continues as we begin to close out. We give you 3 hours of quality information program. We hope tonight that you've enjoyed flying with us here in a higher altitude, in the friendly skies and everything else, as we pull back and continue to reveal all that is going on and why it's happening. But these demons with earthly feet are not going to stop. And this is only going to get worse before it gets any better. There's going to be anarchy, war in these streets of America. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it because they're pushing it. They're bringing it. We can no longer sit up here and lie to ourselves or be lied to. And those of you that choose to be willfully ignorant, those of you that want to be willful and turn a blind eye to what you're being shown here tonight, or whatever time zone you're in, that's your business and that's your right and your affair. But the lioness and I, we are doing our duty in the spirit of Ezekiel 3:17, which is found in the Bible, to be watchmen and watchwomen over the gates of the children of Israel, who are now being called Black American and other names throughout the 4 corners of this earth. But at the start and end of every day, it's going to be your spiritual, intellectual, and emotional responsibility to get up off your behinds, get up off your duffs, to check things out for yourself at all times. However, as you can see, we don't spare any blow. We don't spare no quarter. We bring it to you raw, straight, no chaser, no fluff, no frills. Because the truth is the only elixir you need in order for you to be free. St. John 8:32, the book of the Bible says, know you the truth, and the truth shall what? Make you free. But that's if you can accept the truth. if you can face the truth, as you can see, man, oh man, oh man, a great majority of white America now are facing a real, brutal truth. And you wait until this truth about who we are really, really hits the records and really, really hits the public. Oh man, it's going to be all out chaos, all out confusion, and more anger than a little bit. So, as we begin to close, again, we thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher. You know, as always, the seventh answer, myself, we give an honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow. And seventh answer, do you have any parting shots before we close out?
No.
Well, all right then. We want you to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Continue to enjoy all the original sounds and music that Lady Karima is bringing to you. Original songs in the opening and close. Okay. We hope to see you again, and again, share this episode. Some of you may come in tonight and realize you missed the live broadcast, but don't worry. The beauty of it all is you can always hit the replay button. But sorry that you did miss the live episodes. And for those of you that did tune in again, as we come into Fort Landing, we hope that you've enjoyed the in-flight conversation. There's more that we could go into, but we want to keep it, we want to keep these shows watcher and listener friendly. So 3 hours is more than enough. And as always, the conversation going to continue. We'll be back, Lord willing. So, on behalf of Lady Karima and myself, Brother Dark Storm, we want you to walk in the spirit, be vigilant, be sober, hold your head, maintain your discipline as best you can, put all things in the hands of the Lord in Christ. Again, from whom all positive thoughts flow. And again, we'll be right back at you. And as always, as the spirit once is known as Don Canese would always say, but we say here on the Hebrew tip, Shalom. We want you to live in peace. Aha. Because everything we do here is because we love you. And the Posh, please watch over, protect, and preserve your soul. And we are up out of here. Good night.
Yeah, love. You say you a lawyer, you don't fair, nigga. You gon' write fair, nigga. I was in jail, you ain't even wait fair, nigga. Hey. Found out you was timid in 2 years. In a 2-car, no drugs. Big jumping and risking, popping 500 fake bras. You talking about press stuff. Saying goofy shit, had me putting fit to face cards and that bitch. Nigga, don't tell me not to walk her. Same silly shit, got me looking like with a lover. Yeah, I'm a respect caller. Yeah, oh, hey, don't know what to college. Forgot about how boys play retardable. Some food in the A, now you police calling. Preparing it up, walk around and talking. Walk off on the bed, cause I might fuck around and offer. Playing train game, but I ain't by the heart. Trying to see if she can play flip beans. Fuck around and skeet on your mama. She ain't got friends, cause they all gon' fuck around and walk up. Say, I tell you don't need me, but cold nuts if I don't pick up when she callin', bitch. You can never help me, this is not a Christmas out in Florida. Boy, play free till I make a bunch start to party. I see why you slim flick now, ho fuck around with that powder. I'ma make a beat, special whole OD charger. This is Looney Swallow, I'm King David in California. Buttery Potter in the cold, that's all with the Chargers. Old day plus play with me, I'ma show her I'ma spoil you. Cheated on me lucky, I ain't beat her with a foil. What you know, because when I'm hurt I really turn ungodly. I tell you don't need me, but go nuts, these won't pick up when she callin', bitch. You can never help me, this is not a crisis out in Florida. But play